Pituitary gland. This is located in a bony cavity which is known as sella turcica. Turcica, and is attached to the hypothalamus by a stalk known as infundibulum. Anatomically, it has two parts. The first one is adenohypophysis, and second is neurohypophysis. This further, it consists of two parts, adeno one. The first one is pars distalis, which means the anterior pituitary. And the second one is pars intermedia, which means the middle lobe. Pituitary has three lobes: anterior, middle and posterior. It means their neurohypophysis is automatically the posterior one. Clear? Then pars distalis, it secretes the following hormones. Whatever we are going to list up right now are the hormones secreted by the pars distalis, and the first one I'm starting with is, we are going to stop it here and we are continuing with pars distalis. So it secretes the following hormones, and the first one is growth hormone, also called GH. What happens when GH is secreted in the body? Automatically it regulates the growth development in babies during childhood time. So excess secretion when during childhood. What will happen now? It will lead to abnormal growth of bones. If it is excessively secreted during childhood, what will it lead to? Abnormal growth of bones. Automatically, this will lead to a problem known as gigantism. Clear? Will lead to gigantism. So here we are continuing with the GH and we are writing gigantism is the problem which is observed when it is excessive secretion of this hormone takes place during childhood, and low secretion of this hormone will automatically lead to stunted growth and the problem is dwarfism. So low secretion, dwarfism, excessive secretion, gigantism, and that is only during childhood. If there is excessive secretion which is especially in the middle age, in the middle age. Then it causes a disorder which is known as acromegaly. Acromegaly. It is extreme disfigurement of face. Here I am writing down what all are the characteristics. इसमें क्या ऑब्जर्व होता है? एक्सट्रीम disfigurement of face. Then secondly, it may lead to serious complications. It may lead to serious complications and premature death also. Okay, if not treated, what will happen? This will happen if not treated. Okay, क्या होता है? It is very difficult to diagnose it in the early stages. Why? Because it is always secreted in the middle age, so it is not easily diagnosed in the early stages. Therefore, if it leads to a very, if it is so impactful, मतलब इसका बहुत ज़्यादा impact रहेगा body पे, bones पे, तो complications आएंगी and premature death हो जाएगी. There is no other reason for that. And इसके अंदर a human being, he or she feels that there is always enlargement of forelimbs, protruding chin, जिसको हम एप्पल चिन बोलते हैं, that the jawline is basically, if this is the lip section area, the jawline it moves further. This is the protruding chin, it moves further, थोड़ा सा आगे को increased होती है. This is protruding one. Clear? This is about growth hormone. Now moving to the second one, follicle stimulating hormone. FSH. FSH stands for follicle stimulating hormone. Alright. You know, in males along with androgens, it regulates spermatogenesis and is responsible for the descent of testes into the scrotum. Okay. Mainly हम लिख देते हैं males के अंदर along with the androgens. FSH का रोल क्या रहेगा? Regulation of spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis is the process of formation of sperms and is responsible for the descent of testis in the scrotum, where the formation of sperms takes place. So FSH is required. Fine. Next one. What it does in females? In females, it stimulates the growth and development of ovarian follicles. Ovarian follicles क्या होते हैं? Where the formation of ova has to take place. Follicles. From where? The follicles will ultimately develop into cells or the ova, eggs, ovarian follicles, and secretion of estrogen by the follicle cells. राइट तो मेल्स के अंदर एफएसएच क्या कर रहा है? स्पर्मेटोजेनेसिस, दैट मीन्स फॉर्मेशन ऑफ स्पर्म्स. फीमेल्स के अंदर क्या कर रहा है? ओवेरियन फॉलिकल्स की डेवलपमेंट कर रहा है एंड फॉलिकुलर सेल्स से एस्ट्रोजन की सिक्रीशन को रेगुलेट कर रहा है. बेसिकली व्हाट इज इट डूइंग? एफएसएच इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द formation of germ cells in males as well as in females. Then is LH. What is LH? LH is luteinizing hormone. LUTEINIZING, luteinizing hormone. What is its purpose? चलो ये भी देखते हैं. In males, this one stimulates the synthesis and secretion of hormone testosterone. Synthesis and secretion of testosterone. अब ये टेस्टोस्टेरोन हार्मोन कहीं से तो सिक्रीट होता होगा ना. दैट इज बाय द इंटरस्टिशियल सेल्स of Leydig. It's the place, interstitial cells of Leydig in the testicular region. Okay, what it does? Synthesis and secretion of testosterone, that means the male hormone. From where? Interstitial cells of Leydig in the testicular region. And in females, see, in females it induces ovulation. When it induces ovulation, automatically it will help in the formation of corpus luteum by the ruptured follicles and secretion of progesterone by corpus luteum. What is all this? See, what happens in the ovarian region whenever the follicles are formed. The formation of follicle is a process where the secondary, tertiary follicle after formation, it has to release. Okay, तब यहाँ से ova release होता है. We say in this process the ova is released from here. Now when the ova is released, supposingly this is the ova which got released, this mass of this cavity, it will start regressing, okay, and turns into corpus luteum. The regressing this mass turns into corpus luteum. बाद में ये क्या बन जाता है? कॉर्पस एल्बिकेंस. एल्बिकेंस. व्हाट इज द फेट? नॉट नोन टू डॉक्टर्स इवन. कुछ नहीं पता इसका क्या होता है, बट येस इट गेट्स डीजेनरेटेड. दिस इज व्हाट वी ऑल नो, दैट this one gets degenerated, and then next month the next process starts where the follicles develop. A cavity comes called antrum, then primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle. Ultimately the primary oocyte and secondary oocyte, it develops into an ova which is released, and the leftover mass, it gets disintegrated, known as corpus luteum first, then turns into corpus albicans, and this is the fate, which is actually not known that what actually happens to this, but this is what is known till so far. Okay, so this is corpus luteum, and the regressing corpus luteum, it secretes progesterone. Why progesterone? Because what we have studied in FSH FSH में क्या होता है, आपका ओवेरियन फॉलिकल्स जो हैं वो सिक्रीट करती हैं एस्ट्रोजन, मीन्स फॉर्मेशन ऑफ ओवा, formation of egg is supported by this hormone estrogen, and the corpus luteum, it is secreting progesterone, which is responsible for maintaining pregnancy. So what you have to keep in mind, pregnancy by progesterone, PP, all right, and secreted by corpus luteum. FSH secretes this estrogen in FSH basically, which is responsible for the follicular growth and development. Over there estrogen is secreted. I hope it's clear now. Moving to prolactin. Prolactin को हम लिखते हैं PRL in short form. PRL. What it does? Regulates the growth of mammary glands and formation of milk in them. Mammary glands and formation of milk in them. All right, from where? Basically pars intermedia. Remember the middle lobe? This one secretes the hormone melanocyte stimulating hormone, secretes MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone. This melanocyte stimulating hormone, it regulates the synthesis and distribution of melanin pigment by melanocytes of the skin, right? It stimulates this hormone which acts on the melanocytes and regulates the skin pigmentation. All right. This is what is in short. Then coming to neurohypophysis. For neurohypophysis, we will start on a new page. Neurohypophysis. This one is the posterior. We call it posterior pituitary. Now this one stimulates two hormones. That means it releases hormones oxytocin and vasopressin. Oxytocin and vasopressin. Oxytocin, what it does? Vigorous contractions जो होती हैं ना at the time of childbirth, that is basically stimulated by this oxytocin. तो ये क्या करता है? Stimulates vigorous Contractions. What it does? Stimulates vigorous contractions of smooth muscles of the uterus at the time of childbirth. Okay, then फिर क्या करेगा? Also stimulates the milk ejection from the mammary glands. Also stimulates milk ejection from the mammary glands, right? Then moving to vasopressin. What vasopressin does? Vasopressin mainly on the kidneys, act on the kidneys and stimulate reabsorption of water and electrolytes. Reabsorption of water and electrolytes from DCT. DCT याद है? Distal convoluted tubule. CT collecting tubule and collecting duct. तो vasopressin क्या कर रहा है? Water electrolyte balance को maintain कर रहा है. How? By preventing excessive loss of water. Means ये diuresis की प्रॉब्लम जो होती है ना, उसको रोकता है. Hence it is also known as ADH hormone, anti-diuretic hormone. So what is this doing? Regulates the water and electrolyte balance where in DCT, CT and collecting duct by preventing excessive loss of water, which is known as diuresis. So it means it plays a role in regulation of BP also, right? Let's write it down. ADH, it plays a role in regulation of blood pressure. Okay, and deficiency of ADH. क्या हो गया अगर डेफिशिएंसी होगी तो? इसको बोलते हैं डायबिटीज insipidus, diabetes mellitus, which we all are familiar of, right? Diabetes mellitus, excessive amount of sugar produced in the body and recovered in the blood and the urine test. Clear? When the insulin is not working properly. This is diabetes insipidus. It occurs when there is deficiency of ADH in the body. Then what happens? What are the symptoms? Symptoms include reduced renal absorption of water, leading to the elimination of large volume of urine. Okay, large volume of urine is released if a patient is suffering from diabetes insipidus. Then this is the first one, which is quite prominent. Second one is excessive thirst, and third one is dehydration. These could be the common symptoms of diabetes mellitus as well, but over there traces of sugar or glucose are recovered in urine. But here, no traces of sugar or glucose are recovered in the urine or blood test. This is the major difference between diabetes insipidus and diabetes mellitus. Got it? Moving to pineal gland. Pineal gland. Mainly it is said to be reduced a lot. It is found on the dorsal side of the forebrain. Dorsal side of forebrain. Right? What it secretes? Secretes melatonin. What are the functions of melatonin? Functions or purpose of melatonin is, number one, regulates the 24-hour rhythm of our body. You know, what do we call it? We call it sleep वेक साइकिल. तो हमारा स्लीप वेक साइकिल कौन रेगुलेट करता है? मेलाटोनिन. एंड इसको सिक्रीट कौन सा हार्मोन, कौन सा ग्लैंड कर रहा है? पीनियल ग्लैंड. राइट. नंबर 2, it also influences the pigmentation of skin. क्या कर रहा है? स्किन की पिगमेंटेशन को इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा है. राइट. नंबर 3, it regulates body temperature and metabolism. क्या कर रहा है? बॉडी टेम्परेचर एंड मेटाबॉलिज्म को इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा है, उसको रेगुलेट कर रहा है. एंड नंबर 4, इन फीमेल्स it regulates, or we can say it controls the menstrual cycle. एक और पॉइंट लिस्ट कर देते हैं. It influences the defense capability of the body. It influences the defense capability of our body. Right? Let's quickly revise इसने क्या किया. 24-hour rhythm of our body. So we call it sleep-wake cycle. Influences pigmentation of skin. Regulates body temperature and metabolism. Then controls the menstrual cycle. Then number 5, defense capability of our body, which is influenced by this particular hormone. Clear? This is about pineal gland. Now we have to move to thyroid gland, that we have already covered, if you remember, thyroid and parathyroid. So the next ones which are secreted by the pituitary are thyroid and the parathyroid. Keep in order that these ones are secreted, where we have in thyroid we have done T3, T4 cells. In parathyroid we have specially done that this is a peptide hormone, which is regulating the calcium level in the plasma. Next is thymus. Thymus. Where is it located? On the dorsal side of heart. And aorta. And what it secretes? It secretes Thymosin. Thymosin. What the thymosin does? So the functions of thymosin are: number one, differentiation of T lymphocytes, टी lymphocytes कौन सी हमें इम्यूनिटी प्रोवाइड करते हैं? दैट इज सेल मीडिएटेड इम्यूनिटी. And number two, production of promotes the production of antibodies. Right? वो कौन सी इम्यूनिटी प्रमोट कर रही है? Humoral. Right? Humoral immunity. Cell mediated immunity by the T cells, humoral immunity by the B cells. The most important thing that we need to know is thymus gland degenerates in old individuals. Okay. That's why they have a weak immune system. Their weak immune system is all because of the degenerating thymus in the old age. And babies too, below 10 years of age, they also show a very weak immune system, all because this is not well developed. Right?